Hi everybody, we are here at Academy Day number 9 and with me are Andrei Dolnikov and Chris Worsfold from Studio Binyan. So for all the viewers who don't know you, please make a brief introduction of yourself. We'll start with Chris.
Okay, I joined Binyan Studios 6.5 years ago. It was just Andrei and I in a little office in York Street in Sydney. I'm the director of Binyan Studios, been the creative director for a few years and kind of have enjoyed the evolution and the growth of the business, and now I kind of get to travel the world, go to conferences and meet some amazing people. That's who I am.
I'm Andrei, founder and CEO of Binyan. Started the company in my living room shortly after Chris came on board. I studied as an interior architect, got into archivists, working at a couple of architecture firms at the time. First just needed to kind of, feed my family, and kind of went from there. And yeah, these days it's come a long way from those early days on my living room floor.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you two got together? What was the inception point?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, initially Chris taught me how to use 3D Max. He was a tutor at the university where I was studying interior architecture. He taught me how to use the tools. He taught everybody then. Then he had his own business. I just started doing my own thing at the time. And at a certain point, I kind of thought, this is a crazy thing to do. I'll go just ask Chris if he wants to join. And I did. And he said yes, even though, it was like it was very fledgling. And at the time, I remember telling my wife, this guy's either amazing or really crazy. Turned out he's both. So it worked well. We've been working together for close to 7 years now. And
7 years on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, our special day. We've seen it grow from that point to 120 people. So it's been, pretty cool experience so far.
Ride.
Definitely.
Well, you've grown quite a bit, and I don't know if it was a gradual growth or it was something like a spike sometime during your voyage with Binyan. But in your presentation, you talked about working on the business rather than working just inside the business. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is to work on a business?
So in terms of our growth, there have been certain periods it's been gradual and slow, but there's been certain points where we realize, okay, we need to scale fast, and we would hire over, let's say, a 2-year period, we would hire 40 new people, which is pretty crazy. I don't know if I'd do it that way again, or if I would want to do another fast growth like that. But also, for us at that time, there was just so much demand for our work. The work was getting better and better, and our clients wanted more. So we felt like, okay, we're either going to start saying no to a lot of clients, or we're going to have to grow the team. We decided to grow the team, and by and large it's worked really well. We sort of recruited internationally, and the vast majority of those people are still there, and many of them in very senior roles. In terms of working on the business, I think for me it's simply stepping back and trying to understand, is there anything that can be done better to the way this current ecosystem of people do the craft? What can be done better? Right? Because you just get into repeat, copy, paste kind of pattern. And if you're not actively thinking about what do we want to change and what are the steps required to bring about those changes, sometimes what external knowledge or external expertise we need, or maybe a new person to bring about those changes, you have to be constantly challenging and questioning yourself in order to move things forward. Because by default, things stay the same, and actually if they stay the same, they're pretty much going backwards. So that's been something that we've always had this, in the early days it was Chris sort of more in the business, me me on the business. These days we're both more on the business side of things, but we've always made sure to keep an eye on both of those areas.
But one of the most conscious things that I think we did was, when you look at actually a lot of the big other successful companies, the CEO and founder is actually creating images. And where I think we established ourselves in how to growth is Andrei was able to focus on actually building the business, finding the right people, strategy, processes, getting people motivated, meeting with clients and building relationships, and employing better people at certain aspects than we are than ourselves. and enabled him to, like, if you're working for some of the big companies and the CEOs was making images and actually having to do production and all these type of things, it doesn't enable them to actually take the time out and focus on, you know, the growth and building the client base and do all these things that you sometimes think happen organically, but it's not. You've really got to kind of make a focus and do the hard work. And when you're in production, you don't have the time and you just can't. And I think that's one of our biggest strong points. Like initially, like now, it doesn't seem to matter as much as it did in the beginning. But in the beginning, it was a factor that really contributed, I think, to.
Yeah, and I think in a way it's turning a weakness into a strength. You always have to think about, like, what are you good at? And I don't think I was ever that amazing at an artist, to be perfectly honest myself. So relatively early on, was like, okay, these, you know, get people better than yourself at the various parts. And we've taken that philosophy all the way through. So it's, you know, I envy some of the other, you know, founders of the business that are just so amazing at the art. I wish I could do it as well as that. But in a way, we've been able to, as Chris just said, turn that into a point of strength. And that's how I always look at it.
And how are you able to keep control and keep pushing the limits when you now have 4 offices? So you have 4 offices to manage, and you need everybody to be on board. So what are the 3 important things that you think others can learn from to be able to do that as they grow?
3 things. I think the balance between process and having consistency, and then also on the other hand, autonomy. Each of our studios is run by a studio director and a studio manager. It's a bit different in each one. Usually the studio director is more like a creative director of that office, and the studio manager is more the project management business side. So, and we encourage them to have the same level of ownership of their studio as though it's their business. They see the P&Ls, they see the financials, they have the targets. They have to run it like it's their own shop. That's a level of responsibility we give them, and that's a level of ownership we expect from them. That's been and you know, our job on a more broader level is to make sure they are inspired and they are driving towards the general goals that the business has set for what they're supposed to achieve. That would be probably the most important thing. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have, I think, you know, people say, how do you have quality control as you grow? I don't think you can quality control the work. You have to quality control the people. And I know it sounds a little bit like quality control the people. It means getting great people. And it means having those people be inspired and pushing the envelope in their work. That's ultimately what makes it happen. You can have all the processes and checklists in the world, and we obviously are like way better at that than we were once upon a time. We have an amazing, you know, chief technology officer that's all IT stuff at a level I can't even imagine. You know, and both Chris and I are not super like IT focused people. So in the beginning, it was like, you know, sticky taping some render farm together. Chris's one from his garage was our first render farm. It was like literally, you know, just like wild and woolly, like make it work. Like that scene in, you know, when one of the new Star Wars movies, when the little ball robot kind of tried to plug 5, you know, it was that. And now it's at a whole other level, but at the same time, not making it a machine, right? It's not a factory. We don't like to use the F word, factory, you know. we say, look, it's your own shop, do it your way. And oftentimes one office will innovate and do something better, and then we say, hey, how did you do that? Share those learnings and keep going. Yeah.
How do people can get the insights from your presentation? So, and you also expressed your wish to be able to get people on board with your mission. So where can people find this and learn more and engage with Binyan about these kinds of things?
Look, I mean, send me an email. That's the best way to do it. On LinkedIn, I'm very active, and a little bit just starting on Instagram, or, you know, Chris is big on Facebook. Just find us. And we haven't really made a lot of this stuff publicly available. We recently did a bit of a recruitment thing where we made this prospectus, which is like a 30-page PDF which outlines a lot of this stuff. So that's still on LinkedIn and out there. I can send that to people. You can learn a lot that way. But I think in the years to come, we want to make this stuff more public. Like, I'm not saying we're Google, but, you know, the way Google have done that, they've put all this stuff out there for people to learn and be inspired by, also tell us how to do it better. Like, we learn a lot from all the other companies around. We're constantly analyzing, hyper-analyzing, and trying to see what, you know, like, read an article by Matthew Bannister from D-Box about contracts. We're like, bloody hell, we got to get our contract to this level. We haven't done it yet, but that we want to. It's probably going to, I realize, when I look into it, 2 years of work probably to get to that point. We're striving to do it and maybe do it even better, who knows. But yeah, best way is just to reach out to either of us. We're really available for this. We enjoy, I would say mentoring, because not necessarily maybe we should be mentored,
We enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, the conversation.
So that's the thing I actually love about these events, is actually like spending time out there in the courtyard, having a schmooze, having a chat with people, getting to know people, sharing ideas, experiences. That's actually my biggest joy. In actually, like, you can come and you can listen to people talk, but it's those one-on-one conversations which, when you connect with people and you build a friendship and a relationship, and you're able to, and that's what I walk in here today and you hug people that you saw at another conference, or that you've caught up, or you've been friends with them on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram for like a year, but you've never met them. You've seen their work, but then you put a face to it, and yeah.
We're out there basically, like we want to connect with people.
I didn't leave here till 4:30 this morning.
That's cool. Well, thank you very much. It was a big pleasure, and I wish you a good weekend and Shabbat Shalom. And I hope to see you more here, or maybe even sooner in Israel as well. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next interview. Thank you very much.